Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to talk about some more bad news coming out of AMC Cinemas. And the reason why is because the third quarter reports for AMC Cinemas have been made public. And it is not good. It is not good by any stretch of the imagination, but it is basically roughly what we expected at this point, and that is that AMC is showing a 90% loss on their third quarter when compared to the third quarter of last year. Now, the actual numbers are this year they made about 119 million in sales. Last year they made 1.3 billion because of all the blockbuster films that came out last year. And this leads kind of into the territory of the idea of, I've gone over this in subsequent videos before to an extent, but the idea of will AMC go under? And I think that if this continues the way that it does, because they've started to actually liquidate assets, which is definitely a last ditch effort type of thing to keep themselves going. I don't think they will survive, at least not as a theater chain. Now, the other thing is they do have streaming because they do own the streaming service Shudder, which I have, and I don't doubt that some other theater chains are probably in this situation as well. I don't know what the numbers are for Regal at the moment, or Showcase, or any of the other major cinema chains in the United States, but I can't imagine that they are doing very well. Now, here comes your kind of issue with this. Like I said with the streaming, AMC has said they want to concentrate more on their streaming platforms, which at this point I think is just Shudder. I don't know if they have a general streaming platform. I think they might license some of their properties out to other things, and obviously they have their television network as well. But herein lies the problem, is can you subsidize what you make from the cinemas by concentrating more on the streaming and the television? And they've said a majority of it has to do with releases and things like that because of the VOD releases that are going on right now. But in terms of how that's going to work, we have no idea. Now, I think that the theater part of AMC is probably going to go under. I don't imagine it's going to survive. Probably midway through next year, I would say, is when they're going to exhaust everything and have to file for bankruptcy if things continue the way that they are. Now, the theater industry has also asked the U.S. government for a bailout, and I have been over that before as well. I don't think they deserve a bailout because they basically cut ties with the studios over this whole flame war regarding streaming releases over theatrical releases. And ironically, AMC is stating that they want to concentrate also on streaming releases, which is ironic because that's a huge step back from what they were saying a few months ago. But disparity, being desperate, does kind of put you in certain places where you're willing to say things you may have not said before. But that is a problem that AMC is going to have to deal with now. As far as cinemas in general, and I've said this before, I think some cinemas may survive. Some traditional cinemas may survive this, again, depending on how long this is going to continue. But you also have the problem of you have the stigmas. Even if a vaccine comes out and everything goes back to semi-normalcy, you still have the stigmas of people that don't want to be in. Now people have gotten to the point where they don't want to be in public places with other people. Because of the way that the pandemic has kind of changed things in a way for people to alter their day-to-day lives. So you now have this issue where you have people that are more comfortable with streaming something than going to a movie theater because of health risks. So you're going to have to either find a way to entice people to come back, again, assuming that we can get back to some form of normalcy. And that is a monumental task in and of itself. So I don't see AMC's theaters surviving this. I think they probably will go under. I think Regal has a strong chance of going under, as well as some of the smaller chains. However, the smaller chains are a bit more adaptable, and that's the thing. AMC is the largest theater chain in North America. They also have stretches, I believe, in Europe and Asia and various other places. But here is also the other issue is that you have films that are being released in different areas, and you have the reduced capacity that theaters now have to abide by. And I said you can battle that to some extent with like drive-ins and conversions and stuff like that. But at the same time, you're not going to get the same thing as if you can pile 200 people into a theater building. That you can't just fill a parking lot because 200 spaces is a large parking lot. You're going to have to, if you were to do that, you could only maybe show one movie, so you're screwed if you have something like a multiplex. Now the other option would be to sell off some of those theaters again, liquidate their assets maybe a bit more, and build larger parking lots to house drive-ins. But again, I don't think that would be fiscally sensible of them to do, because I don't think you can substitute the old model for whatever new model they're going to have to come up with. So yeah, I think theaters might die. I think at least traditional theaters might die, and that's very sad to me, because I do like going to the movies, or at least I did before this shit happened. But I do like going to the movies. I like sitting there with my friends, especially if it's a movie where like half the theater's empty or something like that. Something you go and see at 11 o'clock at night. I used to love doing stuff like that. And unfortunately, it looks like that's going to be something that is not going to be part of the future of cinema. And that's not only going to affect AMC and the theater chains, but it's going to affect the studios, because they're going to take a large cut out of their profits because of that. And they already have. The entertainment industry has been one of the hardest hit industries by this entire thing. And even though, you could have successful streaming releases, you can have successful you can have successful streaming releases. You can have successful home video releases. You can do that, but they don't make up for a box office. You're not going to get $2 billion from a film because it's going direct to streaming. I don't think that's a possibility. I think that the revenue stream is going to be much less. And because of that, we're not going to see a lot of the blockbusters that the general public has become used to. And I think that also means that a lot of other entertainment industries, mainly maybe something like the video game industry, are going to have a much larger resurgence because cinemas because the movie industry is going to be reduced so drastically. I think you're also going to see a very strong uptick in television as well. Because the TV industry is going to eat this up because of all the stuff with streaming services. I mean, the numbers for the new Mandalorian, if we ever get to see those, I'm sure they're probably going to be astronomical, considering people are still kind of confined at this point in some areas. But this is this whole thing has just spiraled into a crapshoot. And like I said, it's a sad situation. Like I've criticized theaters before that they deserve to go under, and I still think they do. I think they deserve to go under because they burned the bridges with the studios instead of trying to work with them, because they went and complained, because they begged the government for a buyout. I think that they deserve to fail at this point. But at the same time, it is sad, because I do like the experience of going to a theater. So that's more of the explanation of my logic, so I don't look like a hypocrite. But that's just kind of my thoughts on this recent news from AMC, and what it kind of means for the movie industry as a whole, and maybe what it could look like moving forward. But I want to know what you think. Do you think that AMC will go under, or any of the other major theater chains? Do you think that theaters will become a thing of the past? Do you think that streaming will become the new release platform, and people won't go out to the theaters, won't go out and see movies anymore? That's just how it'll be, and how that'll change Hollywood. As usual, I want to know your thoughts, so you can put those in the comments below. Remember to hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?